And now here's Rick Casey with tonight's Last Word.
I wish I could tell you the inside scoop as to what has happened at the Express News, my former newspaper. Why did top editor Robert Rivard and his number 2, managing editor Brett Thacker, suddenly resign, disappearing from the newsroom, leaving behind email goodbyes to the staff they had led for many years? The vaguely worded reasons given by them and publisher Tom Stevenson are not persuasive, so rumors are flying around the newsroom and beyond, as they always do when explanations for major events do not explain. But I don't need to rely on rumors to talk about another former colleague who has been named to replace Rivard, at least on an interim basis. Kiri O'Connor arrived at the Houston Chronicle in 2003, the same year I did. She proved to be an engaging editor of the ambitious feature section, an innovative leader who demanded a lot of her reporters, photographers, and editors, and was respected by them for it. Anyone who has heard her during one of her regular appearances on NPR's Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me knows that she is also very smart and very funny. I think she'll be a good editor of the Express News. She'll need to be able to deal with the challenges that face any editor today. The biggest challenge? Doing more with less. Shortly after the San Antonio Light closed in 1993, I was in the Express News newsroom with a couple of younger reporters who were talking somewhat triumphantly about having won the newspaper war and now owning the market. I told them I had a question for them. Do you know the forces, I asked, that took San Antonio from being a 3-newspaper town in the 1970s to a 2-newspaper town in the 1980s and a 1-newspaper town in the 1990s? They looked at me. I said, do you think those forces have stopped? Well, we now know they haven't. And while the Great Recession has taken its toll, the traditional economic model of newspapers was falling apart before the crash of 2008. That model enabled us to employ hundreds of reporters, photographers, editors, printers, pressmen, and business side staff to print the daily news on costly paper and deliver it to your house for about 1/5 of what you would pay for a cup of Starbucks coffee. We were able to do that because advertisers picked up about 3/4 of the costs. Well, we no longer have that luxury. The internet and other new technologies have offered advertisers many more choices, some of which newspapers are powerless to compete against. A devastating example is classified ads, which used to be the most profitable part of the paper and a section of considerable readership interest. Then came Craigslist, the internet site on which people can place classified ads for free. Newspapers can't compete with free, and the losses have been devastating. Now, that's one brief example of a complex process, but it shows the impact of new technologies on newspapers. The results have included considerable cutbacks in staff, closing of bureaus, and shrinkage of newspaper size. It was widely known that Rivard was resisting pressure from Hearst headquarters to outsource some production of the Express News to Hearst's Houston Chronicle. O'Connor, it is easy to predict, will try to make such proposals work. She'll confront that challenge and others with energy and creativity. But the basic challenge, the one that all newspapers face, will be above her pay grade. It is to find a new economic model that funds and profits from a news operation big enough and professional enough to cover a burgeoning city like San Antonio. And that's it for Texas Week. See you next time.